All right, and we are live. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining another great episode of Talk with Miss T. As you already know, I am your host, Miss T, and I am back with another great interview. Listen, I don't want to take up too much time talking about myself, but before we get started, if you have not already downloaded our official Talk with Miss T mobile app, I'm going to need you to go ahead and do that because we're trying to make app of the day, as well as follow me on all social media platforms at Talk with Miss T. But enough about me. Y'all hear my spiel all the time. We are going to just jump right into it. Listen, I have an amazing speaker today. I'm not going to say. I'm just going to say a gentleman that knows what he's talking about. I'll put it like that. And I'm going to introduce to some that do not know Mr. Keyshawn Scott. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good. I'm blessed. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me, and I appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, like I said, I don't like to take too much time talking about myself. So what we're going to do is for the people that do not know who you are, just tell us first a little bit about who you are.
Well, my name is Keyshawn Scott, as you mentioned just now. I'm a heartbreaking relationship coach. I help men and women heal from relationships that weren't worth saving, relationships that kind of like took away their self-love, their self-image, their self-esteem, and kind of bring you back to wholeness. I'm also an author. I have many books, 4 to 5, I believe. Hard to keep count when you keep writing. And I'm just here to help people build better relationships with themselves first and allow that to trickle into romantic relationships with someone else.
Awesome. I love it. Well, we definitely going to get it said today because I feel like relationships, whether if it's a one-to-one relationship, a business relationship, it's definitely very important. But you touched on, the topic I wanted to talk about first, as far as heartbreak. How do you deal with that? The emotions that come after that, how do you let go? So I was, looking through some of the videos that you actually created, and one of them really stuck out to me the most that I really want to touch on. You talked about, how you heal, like you heal by releasing, not just, suppressing those feelings and stuff like that. And I took so many key points away from that. I was just like, it gave me goosebumps, literally. So one thing that I actually took from what you said is that, even if being broken isn't your fault, repairing that broken heart that's your responsibility. So
Yeah.
I just want to touch on that first and tell us, what was your thought process as far as creating this video? So what did you want the message to entail?
I wanted the message to entail that it's kind of harmful to who you are, your future, by holding in things that should be let out. A lot of us, we harbor so much pain, so much hurt, so much resentment, right? And so much, thoughts of who we are and who we aren't. And we have to release these things in order for us to accept other things in, right? You can't accept love in, you can't accept healing and you cannot accept forgiveness in if you still have those resentment and those thoughts. Sometimes we hate the person who broke us, right? We want, and some of us, we wish bad on these people who hurt us because we want them to feel as bad as they made us feel. We want to break them as bad as they broke us. So we will hold on to all of this. Like, why did I have to do this? Why are they like this? Why this and why that? But there's so much healing and power in releasing that, releasing all that energy and taking your power back.
Absolutely. So for those that may be listening or they may be watching this and they're just saying, I need steps. Like I know I'm trying to let go, but I just don't know how to. What advice would you be able to give them as far as starting the healing process?
I would say forgive yourself and stop blaming yourself, right? Forgiveness is always number one. You have to forgive yourself and understand that, of course, you had a part to play in it, but you're not responsible for the whole entire relationship. You're not responsible for every single detail that happened, right? But you do have a part to play in it. So the first step is to understanding that you need to detox from your ex. You need a time, a grace period where you're working on yourself. Even if you don't know what working on yourself looks like, take time just to be by yourself with your thoughts, with the pain, with the anger, and just figure out your next steps. But one of the things that I want people to understand is that forgiveness is not an immediate thing, but a definite thing. You don't just say, I forgive you, and then you're back together, you're happy, and you're okay with it. And forgiveness doesn't mean that you're condoning their behavior. Forgiveness only means that I understand that in order for me to get from point A to point B, so I can be happy or heal me, I need to learn how to forgive myself and get back to the me that I once was.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I definitely agree with you. And something that you said is actually very valid, especially within, relationships as far as the letting go
Yeah,
and actually accepting the fact that you have to let go. And like you said, you have to forgive yourself first for whatever happened, whether if it was your fault or not. You allowed yourself to go through it. So now it's time to start. So I like that. I like that.
yeah.
I'm
You
gonna have
got
to
to keep pushing, and it's hard.
yeah, it definitely is. Another point that you brought up, which you mentioned, was the fact that a lot of times we let people control
Mhm.
our responsibility of healing, whether it's family, it's friends, and you mentioned that in the video. So I do just want to talk about that as far as the steps or the process that one can take, as far as, like you said, okay, I have to do this for myself. So, what other steps would you be able to say that you've either experienced or that you've seen as far as people finally taking responsibility for themselves?
I mean, that's the funny thing about it is that a lot of people think they know what's best for you, but never really been in your shoes or been through your pain. So a lot of people think that they know what's best for you. Oh, get over this person, and why are you still stuck on this person? You're not healed yet, or you're still single. Like it makes you feel like something's wrong with you, or you're not doing the right thing. But what we need to understand is that everybody heals, accept love, and give love completely differently. So you're going to heal differently. Your healing process is not the same as someone else's. And the way you love and the way you're going to find someone, get married, and whatever it is not the same time frame as someone else. So your goal is to find out what do you want and understand that things are not going to work out quickly as possible. Of course, we want it to work out. We wish we can just, snap our finger and heal
Right.
and we are back together. But we have to understand that you have to be in the journey, right? You have to be in the journey because this is your testimony, right? This is your life. This is your testimony, and you're going to help someone else get out of their breakup or their difficult situation or their pain once you heal and you become a better version of yourself. So the transition is difficult. The transition is hard, right? It's messy. It's confusing. It's time consuming, right? You might feel as if you're never going to heal. You might feel like there's nobody out there for you, but you have to keep pushing through the process and understand that your healing, your ability to heal, lies on your ability to keep moving forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's talk about your inspirations. So as being, an author, I would say a life coach, because you help
Mhm.
people get over, different tragedies and stuff like that. What keeps you grounded and what keeps you motivated to say, you know what, I know I can help someone else, or I can help that next person or this person. So
Mhm.
what keeps you motivated?
I mean, what keeps me motivated is my ability to serve. I know what it feels like going through that. I've been through a breakup, took me 2 to 3 years to get out of it. So I know what it feels like trying to heal on your own, trying to get better on your own, trying to get out of your confusing state, how to, get over someone that wasn't right for you, but you keep thinking about this person consistently while still trying to heal and find love within yourself. So I know what it feels like. And what keeps me grounded and keeps me going is the ability to know that I have a platform and I have the power to help people. And I didn't get here overnight. It consistently making videos, consistently growing, consistently learning more about relationships, consistently learning about healing, about getting over your ex, about loving yourself, and really understand how important you are. And what actually keeps me really grounded is the fact that I know that people can get over it. Sometimes you're just in your own way.
Mhm.
So I just push myself to help them see the purpose that they already have, and push it past that pain in order to go towards healing. So a lot of what drives me comes from what I've been through and the belief, and I know that people can get through it.
Absolutely. I love it. So I'm gonna skip over a few things I wanted to mention. However, I want to go right to this book that you wrote.
Yeah.
This book that I am starting to read is, like I said, it's powerful in its own way. So the name of the book that I picked up was The Mouse, the Bird, the Dog, and the Lion: 3 Men to Avoid and 1 to Marry.
Yep.
So the title by itself just had me thinking like, okay, are we talking about animals or are we talking? And but then at the end it talks about, the men that you should date, the ones that you need to stay away from.
Yeah.
So I just want to get your take on this book. Like what inspired you to write this? Like, and especially too, it being from a man's perspective. I don't think we see that a lot. So I definitely would love to hear, your feedback on the inspiration behind this book and everything.
Yeah. I think one day, because me and my wife were speaking about it, and someone was asking, I think I made a video on the type of men to marry, and then someone says, hey, what about the people to avoid? Because if you can avoid these kind of traits, then maybe you can kind of have a better possibility of finding the right person, right? So I said, you know what, let me write a book. So actually, we was on a couch one day, and I was like, it got to be like an analogy. It got to be something to create like animals. Like how men be cheating and, like a mouse be sneaky, right? Like, what kind of animal mouse? And then we just kept on going. And I was like, all right, what else? They was running away. And some of it was my personality. Like for me, I used to run away from certain situations, right? So I had some characteristics in there as well. I didn't like conflict. So if me and my wife is arguing, I'm out. I'm leaving the house. I'm walking away. That's before we got married, when it was girlfriend, boyfriend stage. I'm out because I cannot deal with the back and forth and I need to get out. So I will run away from a lot of situations and not fly into another woman's coop, like it says in the book, but I will just walk out because I can't deal with the arguments right now. But I would come back at a later date and talk about it, but I shouldn't run away, especially when you're building a family. You can go to another room, you can do certain things, but you shouldn't just like storm out the house and just leave just like that. Right. So a lot of it came from me. And as we were sitting on the couch, we were just talking about different animals. We went for the lion, we went to the bird, went to the dog, and the dog was the funniest one because like dog, we wanted to make something good, but then make sure that it's not too good. Because you might see a dog, and you're like, okay, a dog is not that bad. It's a mad best friend. Yeah, but some dogs get really jealous. You leave the gate open, that dog is going outside, doing his thing, and come back in. And if you own a pet, you know that if a dog does something wrong, he's always up under you and he's always like, and dogs are very jealous as well. So if a dog sees you petting another dog, it's going to get very jealous and get over there and start getting up on you. Like, hey, what about me? And it goes with relationships. If a woman is hugging a guy or having a conversation too much, the guy's over there, he's going to be like this, I don't know why she over there. And then when you get home, you're going to hear about it. Oh, you know how you was up on him earlier on today. And then you're like, that's just my friend. Oh, yeah, it didn't look like it to me. It's because he's jealous. And out of that jealousy, he might act inappropriately and probably go to another woman or leave that gate and just go and do something else and come back and then make you, Yeah, so it came up. It came up as a conversation, and then I just go with it. When I have an idea and I know that it's really good, you know how we always have ideas as entrepreneurs, and you know that if it's really good, you're going with it consistently. You're just going full.
Absolutely.
If it's not too good, you're gonna think about it, write it down, probably put it in a book somewhere, and just. But if we know that it's good, we're going with it. Pretty much with your podcast, the podcast and the video, it's going to be good. So you said, stay with it.
Yeah, and definitely something you just said, and that when I heard it, I was just like, that's a good point, because you just mentioned, especially as far as we're going to use the analogy as far as the dog is concerned. Like you said, when they do something, they be up under you because they know that they did wrong. And that's, like you said, the same way it is like in being in a relationship where you think you're doing everything right. You trying to, please this person and make sure that they taken care of, but they out there doing something completely different. Yep. So that's another thing that I really wanted to talk about is, the signs that you should be aware of, or that you should see, or that you should notice when that switch up happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say definitely a change in patterns. Trust patterns. Patterns will tell you every single thing that you need to know, because people switch up. That's if you're paying attention. A lot of people don't pay attention because they're in this I'm in love stage, and you could do no wrong, and you're the perfect man, you're the perfect woman, and I love you. And if you make a mistake, then it's just a mistake. I'll forgive you. But we're missing the patterns. We're missing the red flags, the blue flags, the black flags. We're missing the warning signs, and we're in that in love stage. We need to step back and understand that, wait, this person wasn't like this a year ago. What's going on now? He's working too late, right? He's putting on some different cologne, all of a sudden he's buying different clothes to go to work with. He's not wearing his uniform. Men, men always have that uniform that I'm just throwing this on and I'm out.
Absolutely.
Right. But when you see them switching up on certain things, different cologne, smelling different, on the phone a little later than usual, not in bed at 10 anymore. He's in bed around 12:30, right? But when you go into the living room or you go into the kitchen, he's on the phone, but you know that he's not on social media because he's not a big social media person. So now, like, what I'm not saying to like go off topic and start building these conclusions in your mind that's going to make you, go crazy.
Absolutely.
But what I'm saying is that we have to be smart enough to read the patterns and read the warning signs to know when things are changing. He used to come home at 7, but now it's 8:30 and he's working late. But then, when you call, he's not picking up. Usually when he picks up, he usually calls you on his break all the time when he's walking to that store to get something to eat, right? And now he's not calling you more. And if you do call him, he'll click over and be, hey, I'm on the phone, I'm gonna call you back. I'm not saying that he's doing something, but you got to read the patterns in order to help yourself. Because I tell people, a woman could do everything in her power to be a good woman, but you can't control the eyes of a man, and you can't control the sexual emotions of a man either, right? Because some men are just stupid. You just gotta be. Sometimes you're just stupid. You see somebody, they have a conversation. You know, I like her. For what? You got a good woman at home. She cooking, cleaning for you, and you over here entertaining someone who is probably entertaining other men. And you looking like a fool when you got somebody there. Now you're making yourself look like a fool, and now you're making a woman that you have at home working hard looking like a fool. So a lot of it have to go with the man's maturity and but always look for the warning signs and the patterns. Trust patterns. Don't be so in love that you miss everything.
That's true. My dad always has this saying, like, don't let a man mentally play with your mind. Yeah. And I feel like that's, very important, especially for, I'm going to say, the young women, because I feel like we're a little bit more gullible and naive when it comes to relationships. So what I did want to ask is because, like I said, you're an expert at this, I would say. So when it comes to learning a person and learning, like you said, those patterns and learning who they are, I feel like, you definitely have to take time in doing that. You have to, as I say, baby steps as far as learning who that person is. So when you're trying to learn someone and you're trying to develop, that relationship, what are some of the questions that you should ask during those beginning stages of you transitioning into I would say, a friendship to a relationship? Yeah.
I mean, I really think that questions are very, very important, right? Asking the right questions can save you a lot of time and trouble. Asking questions like, how's your relationship with your family, right? For men, to ask a man a question, you can ask some questions like, how's your relationship with your mother? Because you want to know his relationship with the women, right? If he thinks that women are too much, if he doesn't listen to women, if he thinks women are too aggressive, if he thinks women talk too much or they ask for too much. So you can find a lot of those patterns in how his relationship is with his mother, right? Or how his relationship is with his father, or even how the relationship with his mother and his father is and how he's taken that relationship, right? So asking those questions. Also asking, where do you see yourself in 2 to 3 years? A lot of people say, oh, that question is cliche. But if his present doesn't kind of fuse the future, then you know exactly he's not going to get where he needs to be in 2 to 3 years. So you asking that question to see if his present circumstances is kind of the blueprint for his future success. So if somebody tells me, hey, I want to be a doctor, right, in the next 2 to 3 years, and that's where I see myself, you better be in school today. You better be in class. You better be, I'm like, are you in school? Okay, yeah, I am. I'm not right now. I'm just trying to save up money. I'm like, okay, so what are you doing right now? Oh, I'm doing construction. So how are you going to be a doctor in 2 to 3 years if you're doing that now? Something has to be some kind of level of sacrifice, So asking the right questions, but also seeing if his or her present circumstances is living up to those future expectations. Because people will tell you anything. They will tell you anything. Also asking questions like what makes you upset? What makes you mad? What makes you happy? What's your love language? If I were to reward you for something, right? What would that look like to you? What would you want? What was the best present that you ever got from an ex? Or how do you handle feedback, right? It's similar to a job, because if a person at work doesn't handle feedback well from a boss, they want to handle feedback well from you. It's not a boss thing, it's a people thing. It's a person thing. So I will definitely ask, how do you handle feedback? Because if I'm giving you feedback as your woman, right, or as your man, I want to be able for you to understand me and not be aggressive. Like, okay, well, and have an argument. So I want to know in the beginning stage, how do you handle feedback, conflict, or a conversation? Or what's the best time to speak to you when you're upset?
Absolutely.
So when you know these things, it's much better for the relationship. And then you have to remember these things as you're going forward. For example, for men, hey, I don't like to argue too much when I'm in my feelings. I like to take a break. But women sometimes, not all women, but some, they want answers and questions right then and there. I'm not stopping. So you're gonna tell me. And he's like, no, I'm just give me some second. I can't. And then he's getting upset. The more you're provoking and asking, the more he's getting upset. And before you know it, he says something that you don't like. And then you're like, oh, see now. But you've been provoking it. You could have he told you before when you started that he doesn't like conflict, and that's something that he's working on, the communication part. So yeah, I think a lot of the questions and how you communicate well, that's another question as well. What's your best form of communication? Phone calls, text. Do you like video chats? And if you don't like video chats, they might say it as annoying and you're not listening to what they like or what they don't like. So asking good questions like those is important.
Absolutely. And I like how you pinpointed that specific phrase, the right questions.
Yeah.
Not just general questions that, I just want to pick your brain. No, the right questions.
Yeah.
The right questions are going to get you to exactly where you need to be.
Yeah, it's a resume. You got to figure out if I'm right for you and if you're right for me. So if I'm not right for you, I want to know, so I won't waste your time. And if you're not right for me, I want to know, so I won't wait. So we won't waste each other's time. And that's all dating is. People like to force love out of empty people and think that, it's going to work, or I love people. Love people. I was going to make a video after this actually, right? And on Instagram, and I was going to talk about how people skip the like stage, right? People don't even like people no more. I'm in love with you. The first day, I'm in love. You're Mr. Right. I didn't even like you no more. I went straight to the love. And then when you get straight to the love, you scare people away, and then you move too fast. And then when you get hurt, you blame the other person. So yeah.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and just talk about that, because the questions are just flowing as you're talking, because everything you're saying is so very true. So like you said, we skip the like stage and we go right to the love stage.
Mm-hmm.
So in the like stage, like you said, that's the time where you're really analyzing the resume. You're really comparing and contrasting, and then once it gets to that next stage, as far as okay, now it's time to really take it seriously.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to ask you is, in the like stage, transitioning over to the love stage, how is that process? Because I know, like, for some, it might be like, okay, yeah, we're just going to go ahead and, take it to the next level as far as whatever it is that we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But in that transition, how do you see that it should flow?
Mm-hmm. I think it should flow based on what the more you know a person, mm-hmm. right? And the more you know yourself, and the more this person meets your requirements and you meet their requirements. You see, a lot of us, we love out of loneliness, and we don't want to start over, and we don't want to do it all over again. So if we're in a relationship, or even talking to someone, or courting someone, or even dating, in the dating stage, 2 to 3 months pass, and the more time you spend with this person's telling us the right things, and we're formulating a relationship in our mind already before we really fully know this person. So we're not even liking this person no more. We're like, this is the person I could fall in love with. So love is already on the table. We're not even saying, this person's good. This person's good. Let me see what else. We don't even get to that part. We're just like, this person is perfect. And then we start speaking to our friends. We start speaking to our families. Girl, I found the perfect one. I think I'm in love. How are you in love? 3 months ago, you didn't even know this person existed. This person comes into your life. You have good dinner. You might sleep with them. You had sex with them once. They kiss you. You have butterflies in your stomach, and now you're in love with this person, right? How do you know if this person is going to be around next 6 months, a year, year and a half? How do they even handle conflict? right? If you get sick right now, right, terminally sick or something happens, how do you know they're going to stick around with you? Like, how do you know? So a lot of times we love out of loneliness because we don't want to start over, or we've been hurt so much times we feel like we're wasting time. We feel like, okay, if this doesn't work right now, do I really want to go all the way back into that pool again and try to find someone else? Or should I just stick around with this? I mean, he's kind of good, he ain't all that, but he's decent enough to get by. You know what? I think I'm gonna give it some time. And then before you know it, you're in a relationship it's not meant for you. You're not happy. You're trying to change him, and you're trying to make him become that man that you think he should have been, and it doesn't work, right? Instead of saying, you know what, let me go through these steps, right? The first step, let me get to know him a little bit more. Let me have a conversation. Let me get to know his family, right? Let me see how he handles conflict a little bit more. If I don't text him, for a full day, is he going to text me? Is he going to ask me if everything's okay? All right. If I'm used to giving him good morning texts, right, at 8 o'clock, when 8:05 comes, is he going to say, hey, babe, is everything all right? Because I didn't get a message from you this morning. Did you sleep late? That shows that he's thinking about the patterns, the love patterns in our life. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot to go, in it. But a lot of people, they move too fast because we feel like this day in a relationship thing is a race. Like, if we don't get this at that by the end of 2021, then my resolution or my goals, this ain't working, So, yeah.
Awesome. So do you think that, because I mean, I'm going to say, I think that this happens, but in your expertise, do you feel that a lot of times when men or women are jumping into relationships, they base it off of the timelines of others or like the people that are surrounding them? Mm-hmm. Or how do you see that?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times friendships and the people around you influence you a lot. A lot of people aren't in the position to give or receive love, right? It's because they have a lot of baggages. They probably have a lot of pain they have to deal with. And a lot of times when you're on social media or you're around friends who's getting married, people are in relationships, they look happy. You're the third wheel. In your mind, it's like, when is my time going to come? It's been so long, right? So my thing is, are you comfortable single by yourself and you're looking for somebody to be an addition to your happiness? Or are you looking for love based on other people's experiences? So that's the thing you have to ask yourself. Why do I want a relationship? Based on these social media couples kissing every minute, doing TikToks, or because you want a relationship because you feel like you're in an emotional state now where you're ready to give love and receive love, even if that means a chance of being hurt. Because to love means that you might be hurt in return. We don't even know because we can't look into the future. Mm-hmm. But to give someone a piece of us means that they might take a piece of us as well. That might be a little bit ugly.
Absolutely. So one other video that I watched that you did, really, like I said, they hit home for me. Mm-hmm. Like they really had me analyzing, not only personal things, but things that I see that are around me. But one video that you did talk about that I found really great, especially for, like I said, I'm like a stickler on, the younger generation, because I feel like they're the most naive right now, because they feel like, oh, he said he loved me, I'm just gonna go ahead and run with it. Mm-hmm. But one thing that you mentioned was basically the fact of, if all they have to offer is sex, like that's it, like nothing else, more no less. Yeah. But one thing specifically that I took from that was basically when they are only sexually available, not emotionally available. So I just want to just talk about that a little bit as far as comparing and contrasting the differences between the two.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are sexually available, right? And I think we want to feel that love so bad for the sexual part that we're okay with the sexual relationship, just as long as we have a piece of you still here. Mm-hmm. Right. But they have nothing to give emotionally. They're not there for you. They don't care for you. They don't react to your emotions, your negative or your positive ones. They're only there for one thing. And a lot of people don't see that. And some people do. Some people just want it. I'm talking about the people who don't want the sexual relationship, but want something emotional too. But the person they're dating is kind of emotionally empty or emotionally ignorant. They don't even know when you're upset. Right. So they're not even there. And a lot of us, we based the whole relationship, like, you know what, if I don't give him this, I don't even have anyone else. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, should I just give him what he wants just so I can have somebody to text, somebody to talk to, or to say that I'm feeling this kind of way, I'm feeling loved, I'm feeling appreciated, or my self-esteem is not low. I'd rather give a piece of me, to this person. And see, that sexual part, it ruins you. It kills your soul. It devalues you. It kills your self-esteem, your self-value, your worth. It just diminishes every time you sleep with this person. It just diminishes because they only see you as an object, right? They don't see you as a person. They don't see you as someone that I'm going to love mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. They don't see that. That's not in their mind anymore. They just see you as someone that can please them, but not someone that can nurture them. See, there's two types of people. If you can't nurture someone emotionally, if you can't nurture someone spiritually, then there's no, you can't feed my soul. Then there's no use for you. There's no future in that, right? But when you're with someone solely because they're pleasing you sexually, number one, they're robbing you of real love, and then they keep stripping away from you your value. Every time you sleep with them, they just stripping it away until you're just being used. And then you got to take some responsibility for that because you're giving it up. You keep giving it. You have the power to say, you know what? No, I see my worth and I love myself, and I'd rather be single and alone without sex, right? Without being an object than being in a relationship where someone's just using me just so I can feel good for the moment. Because sex is a moment thing, right? It's not an everlasting thing. It has no purpose, right? It has no value. Because if you think about it, what's the real value? Sex feels good, of course, it's amazing, but what's the real value of it? What does it give you? Right. What does it really give you? Like emotional, you're there for me. I can call on you. I can be there. I can depend on you, right? Sex is a feeling. You might feel some way for the 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, right? But after that, it's like, all right, I'll see you next week. It's an appointment. You're an appointment person. You're an appointment now. So yeah.
Okay. Awesome. I love it. This is just very informative.
Yeah.
Because it's like I said, it's definitely great, especially hearing it from the man's perspective. I feel like listen to a female say it's just like, okay, but when you actually get the breakdown, you hear a man saying it's just like, this is what we do, this is what some of us do, this is what some of us don't do, you know what I mean? So just hearing that in itself is just amazing. So we're gonna have to have you come back. We're gonna do like a relationship series or something.
Yeah, I'm here.
Because this was definitely amazing. So for those that may have just tuned in or that are listening and are not really able to see or hear exactly everything that we talked about, again, this will be on all platforms, so you guys will be able to go back and view it and hear it and just definitely give you feedback on exactly how you felt about it. If you got any questions, anything, definitely
Yeah, absolutely,
tune in, definitely. But before I let you go, for those that may not still want to know maybe something else personally, and they just want to reach out to you, how can the viewers or the listeners reach out to you?
Oh, definitely. You can reach me on all platforms at Keishorne Scott. That's KEISHORNE. Last name Scott, SCOTT. So you can reach me on all platforms at Keishorne Scott. I also do have a podcast that's coming out on Valentine's Day with the first episode, Your Love Experience. So we have a really good surprise guest on there. Everyone is like a surprise on there, but yeah, it's going to be a powerful thing. But you can reach me anywhere at Keishorne Scott.
Awesome. Well, again, Mr. Scott, I appreciate you again for coming on. This was definitely a wholehearted, informative conversation. I definitely myself learned a lot. I'm gonna finish reading a book though. Like I said, I couldn't put it down. Like I ordered it last night, and the time I added the Kindle, I've been on it ever since. So I'm definitely going to finish it. And I'll give I feel like, is there a part 2 coming? Because I feel like that's what I'm gonna say at the end.
Yeah, it's gonna be one for women.
Yeah.
What to look out for women? The three types of women to avoid. That's the next one.
It's definitely needed. I mean, you wrote one for us as far as who we need to avoid. So yeah,
definitely. Yep. Don't forget, give me a 5-star on Amazon too.
Oh, I will. No problem. No
That
problem.
was perfect.
I can do that.
All
But
right, cool.
again, I appreciate you coming on. Again, for those that are just tuning in, make sure you go and follow him on the platforms, all of them. Support is needed. Again, if you have not already downloaded the Talk with Miss T official mobile app, it is available on the Google Play Store as well as for my iPhone users, the App Store as well. You can also go and follow us on www.talkwithmisst.com as well as Instagram and Facebook at Talk with Miss T. Please put MISS, the letter T, because someone called me and was just like, I can't find you because you put in MS. It's MISS, the letter T. But until next time, guys, we are signing